So what do we mean by God? So let's start at the beginning. When we say God, we mean an original being, something that existed before the Big Bang. Now, is there any question that something existed before the Big Bang? Was the question. Of course there was something. So, all existence that evolved from something. Whatever that something is, that's God. Is that a leap of faith? Not at all. In fact, if you were to say the entire universe came into being out of complete nothing, that's a leap of faith. There was nothing, and all of a sudden there were particles that exploded. That's nonsense. It's a leap of faith. So when we say God, we mean whatever there was from which everything evolved. Now the question is, what do we know about this being? Well, that's what we've been studying for 4,000 years, starting with Avraham. What do we know about this being? That he exists, we know for sure. Not faith, just common sense. What have we heard about him? What experiences have we had with him, if any? And what must he be like if he was before the Big Bang?
So it is based on logic.
God's existence? Absolutely.
So you were saying before that another logic could come along and dismantle that previous logic.
Yep.
So how does that go together?
Well, first, we have to define what belongs in the realm of knowledge and what is necessarily in the realm of belief. That God exists is not a subject of belief. And for 5,000 years, nobody has ever argued that there was nothing. That's just not an acceptable, intelligent argument. There was nothing and something came out of nothing. No, nobody makes that argument. And that's why everybody believes in God. Now, what do we know about this God? What could we know about him? Some experience with him. So people claim that they've had experience talking to God, of being instructed by God to do something or another. The veracity of that is obviously questionable, because you have people claiming to have communicated with God and coming away with not only different values, but conflicting values. So now you have to sort through that to get to what's true. That he would communicate with human beings is kind of intuitively sensible and necessary. That he created the world purposefully, intentionally. Pretty logical to say that. If he is the original being, why would he be without intelligence? Why would an original being be so restricted? So it makes sense that the original being was all-knowing, all-capable, without limits, because there was nothing to limit him. He did limit himself in order for the world to exist. Otherwise he would overwhelm it. So allowing the Big Bang to happen is really an act of humility on his part. So all of this makes perfect sense, unless you've had a bad experience and now you're anti. But the anti is not an intelligent argument, it's more of an emotional reaction. I hate it because somebody I knew who was religious was mean or wicked or hypocritical, whatever. So when do we get to the emunah part, the belief part? The belief means what I know absolutely and for sure. How can that be? What makes something so sure? The only thing that is reasonable and familiar, you have a certain experience that is so profound that you can't shake it. Then you know for sure. If it's just I saw something, are you sure what you saw? But if it's a profound experience, you can't deny it. Now, whether somebody else is going to believe you, that's a different question. But you are now sure about this. Not only because you saw, but because you experienced it deeply. The event at Mount Sinai produced real emunah, real faith. It was such a powerful experience that we can't shake it. That's the only explanation for how we are able to maintain a commitment to something that happened 3,000 years ago and was never repeated. And 3,000 years later, people are absolutely sure. In a moment of sobriety. So what we're saying is that emunah is the result of a profound experience. It can't come from logic, it can't come from a casual sighting. I saw this, I saw that. It would have to be the experience itself, or in different words, the only way we can be absolutely sure about God is from God Himself. If He makes Himself known, then it's sure, because it's Him. What the Torah is saying, and what Judaism is saying, is that God made Himself known. And since then, we can't shake it off. So Jews are not necessarily very religious or obedient, but we can't shake it off. There's something about the event at Sinai, and we just can't get. And that's why the Medrash, in a dramatic form, says every Jewish soul was there. Meaning it's as if we were all there because we're all affected by it. So these are the two forms of true faith. When the truth makes itself known to you, not when you think you know or think you saw or think you're interpreting something, then there's no truth there. So how does that happen? The event at Sinai, and the very fact that He is your creator leaves an impression. You can't explain it. You didn't do it. You didn't ask for it. But it's there. So the very feeling, look, I didn't create myself. That we know for sure. And if I didn't create myself, then I know for sure that somebody did. And the rest is commentary. We have some pretty good commentary.